Alright, so this is going to be the tutorial to use the gradient tool in the Photoshop. So I'm just going to show you some basic ways of using it, and then I'm going to show you like how I applied it in my own, my own final abstract art design, or abstract art. So basically, you're going to be mainly using this tool here. This is your gradient tool. So there's a couple different ways you can do the gradient tool. So you can use your pen tool here. You can draw the shape that you want. So I'm just going to draw out this like rounded, weird abstract shape. And this basically works with any area that's like a fill here. So I'm just going to use my selection tool, and I'm going to click on the, oh, you don't have to click on the green, so you can actually create it through your colors. So you click on your fill here, and then in the middle here, this is where your gradients are. So you click on that, and then it'll just add a gradient to it. So when you add a gradient to it, there are ways to control and manipulate the gradient. So if you go to your gradients panel, it looks like this. And if you don't have that open, you go to Windows, Gradient, and that'll open it up. But basically, you can use this to change the, what parts you want to be darker, what parts you want to be lighter, or if you want, you can click on this to add more colors to it. So, if I want to add like, if I just double clicked on here, if you want to add like a red in the middle, or, I don't know, maybe you want to do like an orange, and like a yellow, like red, kind of a thing. So it's like using the analogous color scheme. You can do that with your gradient. So you can always add as many colors as you want. Like if I want to add like a blue here, or I don't know, green there. Just don't go too crazy with the colors. When you have too many colors, it becomes very distracting, and it's not really like good to have too many colors. So I recommend at least only 3 colors. Not more than 3, but you can do 2 of them or 3 of them. But I want to do more than three colors. One in the front, middle, and then at the end. And then there's different ways you can control the gradients. So if you click on this, this basically controls the angle of the gradient. So if I want, I can change it to like a 30-degree angle, 60-degree angle. I think it works a lot better if you just kind of like click on that box and move the tab around. And basically you can see how like the way the gradient is, it'll move to like the direction that you want to use it in. Because sometimes some of you may want to have like the red on the top, and going from like yellow on the bottom or red on the bottom, going to the yellow. You can do diagonally, straight, up or left, right or down. Alright, and that's basically the linear type, so it's basically just going in one direction. But you can also change it to radial, where it's more in the middle. And then the nice thing about the radial too is you can actually change where you want to place those circles. Actually, this one's actually controlling the size of your circle. So this is going to control your size. You can make it bigger, smaller. Looks like it's kind of like stretching and skewing it though. So, you can always change the angle of it too. Oh yeah, also the location too. So if you look at this, you can, actually that's moving the location of this thing here. I feel like there's like a part where you can actually change where the circle would be. But I guess you can't really do that. Let me try that out. So I'm going to use the ellipse tool, circle. I know there's a way you can change where the gradient is. No, that just flips it. It might be the angle. No, it's not the angle. So okay, here we go. So if you click on the this is like the gradient tool here, you can actually control it a little bit more if you click on it. There's like little tabs where you can change. I guess you can change like oh, this basically just changes like what's down here, and then you can also move where the sphere is. So if you want to make like a 3D circle, you can do that, like a 3D sphere. You can do that way too. So now if I click on the selection tool, it's kind of more like a three-dimensional sphere now when you look at it. So you can actually change the angle of how some of these things look with the gradient tool here. I'm actually gonna stretch that out a little bit more just so it kind of goes with it. Yeah. So now it kind of looks like a 3D sphere as opposed to like having in the middle here. I guess I did the same thing on that one, but if I were to use this tool again, place it in the middle and made it smaller. Trying to place it in the middle here, but you just have to play around with it a little bit. Oops. Oh, I used the selection tool. Yeah, so you can see like the difference though. Kind of looks like a, if I were to add like a star in the middle. I don't know if you guys watch Dragon Ball, but kind of reminds me of Dragon Ball in a way. If I were to do something like this. This would be a little bit funny. Yeah, look, I look like a Dragon Ball now. Alright, so, okay, I got a little off task there, but, so, the way that I would add the gradient for mine, I just make another box here. I'm just going to make a box on top. And, so I actually had the gradient set up the way that I wanted to. And I use the selection tool, right click, and you click on arrange and send it back. That'll move the whole thing in the very back. So that's kind of how I made this sphere shape. I actually made the sphere a little bit smaller. I'm going to release the clipping mask. And that's something you might need to do, is just release the clipping mask. That way you have control of your objects here. But I have to change the gradient around. But it's like the same idea too. And then the way I did these, kind of like these triangle things that are, coming from the middle. I'm just going to make clipping mask again. So I got to highlight the whole thing. So these little, rays of light that I did, I did the same thing. I'm just going to make that shape here. So it may not be the exact one. And I'm just going to select it, change my gradient. So I'm going to actually change it back to a white and a black. Just white. And then change this to a black. And it's on radial now, so I want to change the type back to linear. And this time I'm going to change the angle that it's at. So maybe I just change it to this. So that's 90 degrees. So I had it darker on the edges and then lighter in the middle. So I'm actually going to do 90 degrees on the opposite end. Alright, so then I got the gradient that I wanted. And then the way I made it look transparent or see-through is if you go over to the side where it says transparency, or you go to Windows and transparency if that's not showing up, this is going to actually control how faded out you want those lines to be. So you might have to click away just to see it, but this is like at 40%. I'll click on it again. Make sure it's selected when you change it. A sturdy. I'm trying to remember what I had it on mine. Gotta release the clipping mask again. So every time you want to make edits to it, you gotta release the clipping mask. I made it at 50, so this one's at 50. So you have to like kind of play around with it, see which ones you like, or I think 50 is pretty good. And then I just copy, Command C copy, Command V paste. And all I did was just rotate this piece and kind of just like, put it on like each of those corners. It's just real important that like, any pieces that you use and that you want to repeat, you don't have to ever redraw those shapes again. Those shapes are already there for you to use. So I'm actually going to drag this out a little bit more. And again, I'm doing this really quickly, but that's like the basic idea of like what I did. And then if you want to go back in the clipping mask, just release it first, and then highlight the whole thing again, and then you can click make clipping mask. So like, actually, yeah, that didn't work that way. Alright, so this is what I would do though, if you might want to make like a new clipping mask on top. So I'm just going to make a whole new box on top, and then just highlight the whole box, right click, and then make clipping mask again. So you may have to like make multiple ones, but every time you make one, you can always release it. Because every time you make that clipping mask, that box will disappear or change. Looks like I can't go back to this one. So yeah, just be mindful if you are making multiple clipping masks. Like, I had to release 2 of them at the same time. But yeah, you can. Okay, so now they're kind of like all merged into one now. They're doing that. So make clipping masks will frame it again, and then releasing it, that's gonna allow you to make your changes to it. All right.